This grilling season, don't just fire up the barbecue. Elevate it with meats from around the globe, delivered straight to your door by the Butcher Shoppe Direct. They're not your average butcher. Butcher Shoppe Direct sources premium cuts from over 5 continents: Argentina, Japan, New Zealand, Spain, the US, and right here in Canada. Whether it's a tomahawk steak from Australia or melt in your mouth Wagyu from Japan, they bring the world's best to your backyard. And here's the game changer. Every order is cut fresh on the day of delivery. No sitting in a freezer, no guesswork, just top quality meat, expertly prepared and grilled ready. Planning a cookout? Check out their handcrafted burger patties and small batch sausages, perfect for taking your barbecue from good to unforgettable. And right now, you can save 15% off of your first order. Just visit butchershopdirect.com and use promo code EatingWild15 at checkout. Plus, get free delivery on all orders over $250. That's EatingWild15 to save, and free delivery when you stock up. Butcher Shoppe Direct. Premium, fresh, delivered. Man, it's not an easy lake. There's a reason why I think Spencer won this tournament.
So the biggest fish ever in my boat was caught by a customer.
What was the fish caught on?
Oh man, that kills me.
Congrats to them, but...
Welcome, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Eating Wild podcast. Smash Malek alongside Showtime Jansen. We are recording live today, post Muskie Brawl siege. How you feeling today, brother?
My throat's a little sore, man. I got a Halls in as we speak.
Yeah, you sound a little bit like you're under the weather, but you have a snow day in London, Ontario. What's going on?
Yeah, we got hammered last night from 1 a.m. to 7, so it's a gong show out there. The plows haven't been there. I saw the guy getting my recycling this morning. They got stuck. So... yeah, man, it is what it is. It's Canada, and unfortunately for me, London is the snow belt, so I'm used to it.
Well, speaking of that, brother, I got to tell you, man, on the way home from the Muskie Brawl, you followed me with your boat. I was in the old meat wagon, the E-Dub meat wagon, which is a 26-foot food truck, old FedEx truck. And I was nervous, Siege. We woke up that morning. It was like it was starting to snow. We couldn't even see the lake. It was like a whiteout because it was just blowing snow, but it wasn't really accumulating on the road. Mm-hmm. And basically, I said to you, with these winds, because last year on the way up to St. Clair with the meat wagon, I felt that wind. Like, soon as you get, like you said, once you get to the open areas in the London area, the Woodstock area, holy
that stretches,
Moses,
yeah.
It is windy and you're blowing. That's why I feel like they made that 401 Rescue TV show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for our American listeners, if it's not too far from you, but basically from Windsor down to past, I'd say close to maybe Kitchener, it's almost wide open fields.
Yeah, and a lot of our listeners are from Buffalo, New York, and Michigan, so they know what we're talking about right now.
And it was the scariest drive. I gotta tell you, man. Our camera guy, God bless him, he was sitting next to me. We were driving on the 401. You followed me up into the First Service Ontario, which is 80 kilometers from the exit that we exit to go to Lake St. Clair, which is the Thames, right? We go up to Lighthouse Cove. So that exit, I'm not sure what it's called, but...
Dutton is the area you got off.
Dutton.
Yeah.
So when I got off, because you were tailing me, you basically told me I opened up the floodgates for you to get absolutely murdered because I was like a shield for you down the 401.
Buddy, you when I was driving, I was just slow and steady behind you. I wasn't tailing you, but that big truck, it put up like a huge blocker for me. So I'm thinking these roads are fine. And then you called me and like, Siege, I got to get off, man. It's so brutal. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess it would be a lot tougher in your truck. But I thought it was fine. And then you merged off and the exit. Next thing you know, I was white knuckling. The boat trailer was going a little bit. My wife called me just to see. I had to let her go because I had to pay attention to the driving. But yeah, man. And I only had to go to London, right? So it's about an hour and a half from Tilbury. So you poor guys had to go all the way to like Mississauga.
Yeah, it was a 5.5 hour drive at the end of it. And I got to tell you, I stopped a few times. It got worse and worse as we got through the 401 area, through London, then Woodstock, then Kitchener, and then I exit the Bradford way, the 403. And I was lucky enough to see the plows coming onto the highway. The lights were flashing, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to slow down and I'm just going to tail these guys.
Yeah,
so
that's
I actually
smart.
tailed them. I tailed them all the way to Hamilton.
Yeah, that's smart.
It literally saved me because we saw, I don't know, probably about 20 or 30 accidents on the way, or guys in the ditch. Not even accidents, just guys that flew off the highway. But it was brutal. But listen, man, that's November. You never know what the weather is going to be like. And it was the Muskie Brawl. That's why they call it the Brawl, because you're brawling. And needless to say, Siege, we had a very successful trip, you and I. I got to watch the footage from the past 2 episodes, which was day 1 and episode 1 and episode 2. It was a 2-parter. But just a quick recap, the food was the talk of the town. You said that your phone was blowing up post-brawl from guys just thanking you, and the Muskie community, man, was incredible to us.
It was great, man. And even on the ride home, I saw other brawlers pass us. So we were in your truck and then my truck with the thing. They're giving us thumbs up. And, they weren't towing a boat. It may have been Shore Ninjas, but yeah. And to any of the brawlers out there, I know you guys and girls are listening. Let us know what sandwich that Smash made was your favorite, because we're tweaking a lot of different things for next year. We're perfectionists, right, Tone? Like every year we like to switch something up, make something exciting. But those sandwiches you had, they weren't your gas station peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
No,
they were
nuts,
great, man.
I appreciate that, Siege. I was happy that you were working the grill because, buddy, you are perfect to work at GCC because you had patience. You wanted to so just to put this out there for the people that didn't see what was going on in the truck. Siege was at the window. I was out there making the steak sandwiches, which was last year's most popular thing. That's why we brought it back. And it's funny, first few people that came to the window that remembered us from last year were like, are you doing that steak again? Because the steak was a hit. And you, with your sales background, you were like, enough of this steak. There's beautiful wraps that you made. We had the Chicken Club bacon wrap. We call it the Baconator. Then we had the Tornado BLT.
That was good.
The Tornado BLT, which was loaded, by the way. It was probably a half a pound of bacon in each 12-inch wrap. We had the panini press going. We also had the taco, braised beef taco with the avocado, jalapeno creme fraiche, some cheese and salsa.
That was my favorite.
And people weren't getting these. So what you started doing, Siege, is you started firing these things on the panini grill and started handing them out to guys as appetizers while they were waiting for their steak. And needless to say, day 2, everybody that sampled those wraps, we sold out of those before the steak. So
everyone gets in their comfort zone. Sometimes I know when I go to a restaurant, I tend to always order my favorite thing because you don't want to take the risk. Is it going to be good? And you get disappointed. I know it's easy to be a sales rep for you because I know you have a great product, right? So when you have a good product, you just give people the samples. The next thing you know, their mouths are watering. And I was one of them. I was helping you at the same time I was a consumer of your product. And those cold mornings to have the hot coffee and a hot sandwich, it was great, man. It was great. We do have some different plans for next year. Stay tuned for that. I just want to know for you, you were getting up at what time?
I was getting up at 4. I had to get the coffee started and then I had to get the truck. So, it's to feed that many people in an hour, Siege. Was it an hour and a half?
Yeah.
It's like if we're not ready it could be catastrophic. And the only reason why I say, and even though they're fishermen and the guys, everyone loved us over there. So it was like, even if people had to wait, they weren't going to put up a stink like they would on a film set.
Right.
But in the back of my mind, and this is where I commented you with your patience, and you wanted to make sure that every wrap was toasted to perfection. And it was like, in the back of my mind, it's like, okay, this guy is probably thinking, I need to get my food. I got to get on the water because we're 10 minutes away from blast off. Maybe I got to tie some leaders, blah. But everyone was so chill. So, maybe I kind of overdid it with the timing and gave myself a little too much extra time. Maybe that extra half hour to an hour sleep would have been great. But I'll tell you, man, I was fired up. So I got up at 4. I brewed the coffee, got the truck warm, started the oven, got the eggs scrambled, got the steak in the oven for the steak sandwiches, pulled everything out of the fridge so it kind of came to room temperature, because then that way when you grilled those wraps, you want to get that cheese melted, because those griddles are so hot. Mm-hmm. Sure, it's going to toast the outside of the wrap, but the inside's still going to be cold, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that I got them to rest for outside the oven, outside the fridge for like an hour, kind of brought the temperature down, and that way when you crisp those babies, I saw one guy pull away from his wrap with the cheese just stringing out of his mouth, and I was like, oh boy, Siege is perfect for this, because sometimes I get a little carried away with timing, and I just want to kind of, I saw those grill marks on that wrap, and it's like, get it out. Well, you were making sure it was nice and extra crispy, and you were selling it, brother. Even those puff pastries, I don't think I would have sold. I say sell because we were giving them away, but I don't think we would have got rid of them all if it wasn't for you, again, giving them sampling, and people were like, oh my God, these are amazing.
Well, let's think about it, Tone. These are musky anglers. I really have to sell a puff pastry to them, right? They're like, you know what I mean? This isn't an everyday, bacon, eggs, grand slam from Denny's. So I saw a little bit of confusion on some of these guys' faces, and then they bit into them, and they're like, oh, okay, the texture is like they're
It was funny because you tried them first. Actually, both of us did. We grabbed them, like, try the roasted cherry tomato and leek, and you were like, well, sounds great, looks great, and then you tried it, and you're like, Tone, everyone's got to have one of these, and you just started firing them on the panini press, and everyone that came up, I think Mercedes came up, Graham Hurley's significant other came up, and she was a doll, by the way. Shout out to her. She came and grabbed all the food for the people that were on the check-ins down by Lighthouse Cove Marina. So every day she'd come, she'd get 5 coffees and 5 wraps. And anyways, we were just filling that bag up for her. And it was funny. She came back. She's like, oh my God, everyone was losing their mind and they loved the food. And we made it easy for her. And but again, there's things that I noticed we needed to tweak. One, something as stupid as having one of those trays that can hold 4 coffees. Maybe people were grabbing guys were grabbing coffees for their partners while they were on the boat. You can't carry your breakfast and your coffee with, just with 2 hands. So, little things like that, Siege. We get better and better every year that we do this, but you mentioned that we have something up our sleeve for next year. I know we're a year away, but our minds are already going.
Yeah, we won't dive in too deep, but we're gonna try to make it where 80 to 90% of the anglers in the tournament are going to get served, not just the Lighthouse Cove anglers.
Exactly.
So we're going to work out the logistics because there's great people that are fishing Bell River that felt so missed out on the breakfast, But and a big shout out was it GFS?
Yeah, GFS. Michael Cobes, man. I just got to put that out there. I got to thank him for helping sponsor us for the for the breakfasts, and again, he supplied us with I'm going to say probably 90% of that, Siege. Obviously the Butcher Shoppe, our beautiful sponsor, always steps up and helps us and provided the giveaways. We had 2 prime boxes, one to a lucky guy who purchased, the first guy that came to purchase a hat. You said the first people that come to purchase hats automatically get drawn into a giveaway. So we had people, we were selling hats, which was awesome. We weren't there to sell hats. We were there. People wanted some merch, and we got it. We had a giveaway from the Butcher Shoppe, which was a prime box. We had the 2 tomahawk steaks that we had to purchase, though, because we bought those just in case we lost the bet, which we did. We'll talk about towards the end of the show. We'll get into that. But, GFS Michael Cobes, I want to thank you very much for helping us out with that. A big shout out to you and GFS. Always been a proud partner with Gourmet Craft and Catering. I've been using them for years, and it was nice for him to donate a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And to change the subject a little bit, we're going to have the winner coming up after commercial, right?
Yeah, well, you mentioned
Berman.
Yeah, Spencer, you mentioned, it was funny. I was going to lead right into that because you were like, we want to make sure everyone gets fed at all the check-ins, maybe, right? Because that was some of the feedback we were getting at the Cove. And, our good friend Kyle Moxon, we had Simon Barth. Like, those are guys that I wish would have had the experience of coming to the truck. But, we thought about it and we're like, how can we get these guys fed? And Spencer, man, he was, from, obviously, he's a U.S. guy. And, man, I can't wait for this guy to join us. This guy's a legend, bro.
He is the, if any of our listeners, before we go into the interview, just pull up Spencer Berman's credentials on Lake St. Clair. And I'm not just talking he's Lake St. Clair only, but this guy casting, he is, oh man, I'm so excited to have him on. And the only reason we're having him on, we made a connection with him, obviously, at the Brawl, but he's got such a busy schedule. He's booked from now until closing on Muskie, which is, when is it closing, Tone?
I think it's December 15th.
Yeah. So he's booked all the way through, but he had a snow day today too. Right. So he's not guiding today. We're going to have him on, and man, we won't get too technical with him, maybe another time, but let's hear, buddy.
Yeah, well, and before he joins us, one quick fact that I heard about him, and this could be a friggin' rumor. I'm not even sure I'm going to ask him because if I'm off, I'll look like an absolute goof.
Yeah.
But I've heard that this calendar year that he's been guiding people, there was only one day where they got skunked.
Oh, man.
One day. And I'm talking Muskie.
Muskie, yeah.
If that rumor is true, which we're going to have to dig deep because I don't want to ask him that because he might look at me and be like, are you bake smash? What are we talking about? Get skunked all the time. But I heard through the grapevine that this guy is so good at what he does and how knowledgeable he is on the lake when it comes to Muskie. And Lake St. Clair, man, is not an easy lake. I mean, sure, you can, when the weather is right and the winds are right, you cast, you got a chance at a trophy. But, there's a reason why I think Spencer won this tournament with those conditions, Siege.
Right.
Because it didn't maybe allow some of the guys like us that are not weekend warriors. We've been fishing Lake St. Clair a long time, but we kind of take a back seat and we don't work as hard as we think we need to find the fish. Well,
right.
There's a reason why he got big fish last year.
Yeah.
And this year he won the tournament. And the conditions were tough.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's pick his brain.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So let's take a quick one here. On the other side, we'll have Mr. Spencer Berman join us, and looking forward to it.
Hey, Eating Wild listeners. Are you still searching for that perfect boat?
Xtreme Marine London has got you covered with new and used boat sales, service, and professional installation of marine electronics and accessories. Visit their London or Kingsville, Ontario locations today and get ready to make waves and catch that fish of a lifetime.
Xtreme Marine is your one-stop marine shop. Check them out at www.extrememarinelondon.com and follow their journey on Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to tell them that the Eating Wild Boys sent you.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the Eating Wild podcast. Siege, we talked about this gentleman on the opening segment of the show, and we are so pumped to have him join us. Captain Spencer Berman from Spencer's Angling Adventures, the champ, by the way. When I say the champ, is here. Thank you, Spencer, for taking the time and joining us today.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me.
It's great seeing you, Spencer, not in your boat kicking our butts.
I think the lake kicked all of our butts this weekend.
Yeah. Let's dive into the Muskie Brawl in a little bit. we got to talk about your background, brother. You know, you were saying earlier, you started as a guide when you were 17?
Yeah. I started guiding pretty young. I just kind of stumbled into it. I started actually tournament fishing, and then another guy asked me to take some overflow trips for him, and away we went. I just kind of went down the rabbit hole. Never really planned on it being a full-time thing, but now I'm 18 years of guiding now, and it's a lot of fun.
So were you guiding primarily just starting right away for muskie?
Yeah. So I started out just like everybody does when I was real young, just fishing ponds, bass, whatnot. I did a little bit of tournament bass fishing when I was really young, and but I got the muskie bug pretty early. I caught the first one when I was 11, and once I got a boat and kind of was freed up to kind of go beyond the pond and shoreline stuff. It was kind of all muskies for me, and then it kind of came full circle. So the younger me was super into the muskies, like everything else is bait, not doing anything else, and then kind of grew up and evolved a little bit. And now I do the bass and walleye, or pretty much walleye in the spring, and even do a little bit of fall walleye, but still spend about 6 months of the year chasing strictly muskies.
And now, when you were coming up, was it always Lake St. Clair?
I grew up south of Detroit. I always had fished St. Clair, primarily the Detroit River when I was younger, because it was more of a casting bite there, and the casting thing on St. Clair hadn't really become as much of a thing. I started out fishing there, but I also was doing some other places. And then early in my career, I kind of gypsied around like so many guys do. I guided in Indiana in the springs.
Yeah,
I went to school in Wisconsin, so I did a little bit up there. And then I did, back when I was getting started, it was 2006, 7, 8, and Minnesota was the place to be. That's where everyone wanted to go. So I spent a couple summers doing some stuff there, but living out of the truck, guiding wherever I could, still coming back to here, doing 55,000 miles a year on the truck, and, kind of picking up trips wherever I could, and, trying to fish 22 hours a day kind of thing.
Holy smokes, man. I got to ask you, Spence, you said how early you started muskie fishing. How much of the baits evolved from when you started? And you mentioned casting, like there wasn't many swim baits out there, like those big water wolf lures and the Bondi baits of the world and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and you were smoking them back then. You know what I mean? Like, tell me, like, in your opinion, like how's it evolved for you as a guide? Like with the bait selection now and electronics as well.
Yeah, I mean, everything's changed so much, as has the fisheries for sure. But right when I was getting into it and like getting into the muskie thing is when the cowgirl was about probably 2 to 3 years in, and that was the ultimate game changer. Like the double tens changed everything, and they also changed our equipment, because when they first came out, everyone was using still 6 and 7 foot rods. You had a lot of premier guys that were saying, you can't catch a big one in a figure 8, like it's impossible. And then the rods got longer, and the reels got better, and all that kind of stuff was kind of evolving right as I was coming in to the industry. And nowadays it's totally different. The equipment we have is so much better, but also, as the equipment's gotten better, the lures have gotten bigger and things. So like it almost is par for the course as far as how hard it is on you, on your person. But we definitely have a lot better bait selections. Everything's evolved. Everything's come. Pretty much everything now is made in North America, which is great. There was a lot of Chinese stuff earlier in my career, but that's kind of all evolved. You just realize you can't get the quality from there that we have here. And overall, everything is really changed and gotten a lot bigger, stronger, sturdier.
So Spencer, obviously the double 10s, the double 12s, it's a good summer bait, warm water bait. Back in the day on your come up, what were you using in the late fall when there wasn't big rubber?
So, I mean, when I first started, rubber was always a thing out here.
Like pounders?
Even going way back. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was always kind of a rubber guy. I've been hooked up with Muskie Innovations forever. So back when I first started, it was big baits. It was big rubber, primarily bulldogs. The Medusa really wasn't a thing yet. Right when I got started, it kind of came out, but it kind of hadn't become, a household name. I didn't get my first one for probably till 2010, I would say. I got my first Medusa. But yeah, it was always bulldogs. So
okay.
The pounders and the mag dogs were really the ticket. The swim baits were not a thing. The water wolf lures hadn't even come out yet. And, there was some bigger bass style swim baits that were around, but the dogs were working so well, and the fish were really naive back then, so you didn't have to get super creative.
Right.
Right. If you put it in front of them, they ate it, kind of thing, which is definitely not the case anymore. But so it was all dogs for me for a long time out here. That was really the thing.
Yeah,
You're still throwing dogs.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know. I see that. Like, I mean, a lot of people I see, they kind of veered away from dogs, and then I see you're still pounding them.
Oh yeah, I mean, bulldogs have won probably more tournaments than just about anything else on the planet. They're a great bait. I mean, the way that everything seems to evolve in the muskie world, because of the way we condition these fish. Like, muskies aren't necessarily smart, but they're conditionable. Every animal is. And what happens is when those first baits come out that are a game changer, which, the Medusa was definitely one of them. The bulldogs have kind of always been there, so they weren't as much of a, like, just go walked onto the scene. Like some of the other baits, and the water wolf lures were the same thing when the first Shadzilla came out, where they just were so dominant for a hot minute. But then once the fish get used to them and they all get caught on them several times, the lure stops becoming quite as dominant, but it still settles in as one of your top baits. It just isn't kind of the only bait. Like when those first things come out and they're so good, it's like, it's almost all you use, but then it's still, once those fish get conditioned to them, they still bite them and they're still great baits. It's just not, the is all be all like it is when it first comes out, until those kind of fish get accustomed to them.
Right.
What do you think the bulldog's replicating? I know we've caught a lot of catfish on LSC. Kind of looks like a catfish. Do you think, is it, what do you think, just a fish or?
So, I mean, everyone has their own theories on these type of things, but in my opinion, I've studied muskies forever. I'm totally a complete fishing nerd when it goes to the biology of all this kind of stuff. The way that I tell people is, when you start trying to replicate, like, this looks like this or this looks like that, you're giving them too much credit. They have a brain the size of a pea. They don't sit there and say, oh, like, that's a perch. I like perch. I'm eating that. Like, right. It's the vibration that those baits give off trigger a feeding response in their brain, and they eat it. And that's why the majority of the baits, whether they be rubber baits or look at bucktails. Like, what on earth is a bucktail?
Yeah.
There's more muskies caught on bucktails across the muskie world than anything else on the planet. They don't look like nothing. Nothing else makes that vibration, but they eat them. All right. So in my opinion, it's just the vibration those baits give off that causes those fish to bite and feed when they are in the right mood, when you have a feeding window and you put them in front of them.
Right. And I got to ask you this too. Not just the lures have evolved over the years. When you first started, Spence, obviously electronics have evolved like crazy, not just in the muskie world, but, on the bass circuit, the Elite Series and stuff like that. How, for you, first of all, what's your opinion on scoping, and how do you feel that the electronics have helped you as a guide, or if you're still an old school guy that just needs it for depth and I know the lake probably better than anybody out there because of just the years you've been putting service in, but what's your take on that?
So, I mean, live scope it's the 800-pound gorilla. It's the elephant in the room all rolled into one. It's the biggest, most controversial thing that we've ever had in fishing in my lifetime, for sure. And I don't begrudge anybody for using it. I have, there's tons of rumors. I hear all the time that I have 12 live scopes on the boat. I don't. But I definitely use live scope a lot. So everybody has their own opinion on the ethics of it. And obviously we've seen the tournaments have, they really embraced it for a while and everyone went kind of crazy on it. And then now we're kind of coming back off, and in fact, actually the Muskie Brawl is the only tournament I fish throughout the year on St. Clair that allows it. Personally, and I don't begrudge anyone for doing anything necessarily. It's all legal technology, but the way that for me, at least, my ethical line is that I use live scope as we fish. So I'm always casting. I'm not going to drive around and just simply look for fish and only cast at specific fish. But as we are casting, if I see a fish on scope, I'm casting at it. No doubt about it. I won't harass them. Like, I put a couple casts in and I don't really stop the boat or turn around, or, I know guys that just, beat the bejesus out of them when they see one on scope. I've never, for the most part, for me, it's like when you put a cast on them, they either eat or they don't. Normally, it's the first or second cast. Like I said, I won't beat them up when I see one, but I've never driven around and well, I take that back. I did it one time to try it, and like it definitely works to drive around and look for them. But sure. I felt dirty doing it. Like I felt like it's against my kind of moral code. But as we're drifting, if I see one on scope, like we're gonna make sure we put a cast on it for sure. So that's where I draw the line. Like I said, that's how I use it. The nice thing for St. Clair that's, it's a huge issue. A lot of other places is depth. Like we don't have to worry about depth. Like Minnesota's gotten just absolutely crushed with guys scoping fish that are too far down in the water column and they're bringing them up to barotrauma and they don't live. And it's easy to say like, oh yeah, if I'm driving around and I see one 35 feet down, I'm not going to cast at it. But when we're around some of these lakes, they're low density. You haven't seen a fish for 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. And then all of a sudden you see one and it's 40 feet down over 60. What do guys do? Like, do you, no one's watching. No one's going to check you. But like, of course you say that you're not going to cast at it, but do they? I don't know. It's a problem. So like that's causing a lot of issues at a lot of places. Luckily on St. Clair, we're only, deepest part of the whole lake's 21 feet other than the shipping channel. So like, we don't have to worry about that as much, luckily. But for me, that's how I use them. I mean, I definitely, it's a great tool. It's not the is all be all. Like it doesn't, you still got to catch them. You still got to give them a bite. Like we saw so many muskies this weekend that just gave us the fin and said, nope, we're not going to move, not going to do nothing. So.
And it's not like you're an angler, Spencer, that just got into muskie fishing and you really dialed in live scope and you got good then. You were around when that wasn't there and you were catching big fish.
Yeah. So, and like, I mean, obviously, as we said earlier, like the most of the tournaments, like the Bondi Slam, which is the biggest American casting tournament that I fish every year, like that doesn't allow any live scope. It's the professional muskie trail doesn't allow live scope anymore. So like, I mean, it's, and like you said, I mean, going back, I mean, I got my first one in 2019. It was out, I think, for like a year or two by then. But yeah, I've done it. I've been fishing long enough that I remember the pre-live scope days and the live scope days. So
how do you have time for your full-time guide and then you kick butt on the tournament trail? What came first? Was it the guiding then the tournaments?
No. So like I started out doing tournaments actually before I started guiding.
Okay.
Just kind of stumbled into it, decided to, and there's, I mean, for muskies, there's no qualifications or nothing like that. You just, if your check clears, you're good to go. The only one that you have to qualify for in the whole fishing world is Bass Masters and MLF.
Right.
But yeah, the first one I ever fished, first PMTT I fished, I think I was 17 and we cashed a check. And it was
nice.
Like, oh, this is neat. And it wasn't, I mean, I think we took like 10th or something. It wasn't like we won or anything, but it's like, oh, this is kind of neat. And then, I didn't do well in the second one. And then we cashed again in the third, and then made the championship and things and did pretty well there. And it was a big thing for me, especially starting out because I was super young. And it helps to give you a little credibility, especially trying to pivot to guiding. Because no one wants to hire the 18-year-old that just got started. Everyone wants to hire, Old Man River has been doing it for 70 years.
Yeah.
Right. So it definitely helped me to kind of get a little bit of credibility to my name. I got asked to write for Muskie Hunter. Sarah, kind of brought me on to do a little staff writing for him. That helped as well. All those kind of things kind of came together to kind of help, get me started and get me some customers so I could stop living out of my truck.
So the muskie tournaments that you're going into, is it different lakes all the time, the trail? Like you're going to all different lakes?
So I don't fish the professional muskie trail on a yearly basis.
Okay.
I just kind of jump on and off. I used to do it more like back earlier in my career, I wasn't busy enough I wasn't full. So I didn't have to take days off to do it because I had demand for, 15 to 20 trips a month. So it wasn't that big of a deal to work the tournaments into my schedule. But the last 10 years, my schedule's completely full. So it's hard to justify going to waters that I don't know or don't feel confident in necessarily. Not that we couldn't do well in those places, but the way that I've kind of done it the last, 10, 12 years since I've been so busy is just if I like the schedule, particularly if St. Clair's on it, then I'll do the whole trail. not just the St. Clair event, because obviously you want to try to qualify for the championship. That's the big money one. Normally it's 40 to 45 guys that qualify. So it's a short field and you got a chance at 55 grand, you get a boat.
Wow.
That's that's always a thing for me. Like if Claire is on the schedule and I'm doing the whole thing, otherwise I pretty much just stay here and guide and then fish. I fish 3 local tournaments a year. So I do the Bondi Slam. I started doing, now the Brawl, which is super fun. I started that last year, and then the Freedom Tournament, which is in August. I fish all 3 of those on a yearly basis. And
the other tournaments you're going into, is it casting only as well?
So the Bondi Slam, which is the biggest American that's an all casting tournament.
Okay.
That's in end of July every year. I think it's their, I don't know, maybe 10th or 12th year, something like that. It's a really, really cool event. It's 3-person teams. It's, it's kind of scored the same way as PMTD, and catch as many as you want. It's a point total, and then the other one that I do in the summer is the Freedom Tournament, which is, that one is, it's casting or trolling. So the last 2 years, I've been the only caster in it, which is,
I love it.
But it's big. It's big fish. So it's total inches on 2 fish.
Right.
So that's because you can't compete with the trollers from a numbers game. They just have too many rods. They cover too much water. But on a big fish game, like, we can be competitive, and we won it last year, which was super cool as the only caster in. So that's
crazy. You've seen trollers like that crazy, is man. For numbers that we really look up to guys like you, because we are big casters. We'll be casting until eventually we may be trollers. Father Time doesn't care after a while, but it's just to see you compete against trollers like that. Yeah. That's crazy, eh, Tom?
Yeah, it's crazy, Siege. And one thing I got to mention, when we heard that the Barthinator, Simon Barth, was fishing with the champ, we knew that, listen, again, Lake St. Clair is one of those things. And I think this was the difference. Listen, there's no coincidence that our guest got big fish last year and won the belt this year, because it's what separates, I think, Siege, the time that Spence has put on the water with his guiding, with the tournament angling. But that you can hang out at the Thames, and any guy that can throw out a big lure and kind of know his way around the lake, Siege, has a chance at this. But when you factor in the weather that we had and, the conditions that we had, it's where the pros shine, I think, in this tournament. And that's, and Simon Barth, I don't know if you can talk a bit about Simon. We know him. We fished with him a few times, and what a combo you guys must have been. The knowledge going back, because we know he's a quiet guy, doesn't advertise too much. He's a sleeper. He's like a scientist. He's a scientist. But when you put the both of you guys in the boat together, Spence, what was that like? Like, do you guys ever get into it where it's like, he has an opinion on something, you have an opinion on something, or is it you guys have a really good chemistry together?
So I've known Simon literally for, I don't know, 10, 12 years. I mean, he was one of the first guys, also out here guiding, going way back. We talk a lot, but it was kind of a last minute thing, like, in pairing up together. I wanted somebody. So last year I fished it with 2 other guys, and it went well, obviously, but it was. This year, I kind of wanted somebody that was, I wanted another guy that was, a guide particularly, or someone that fishes a lot, to kind of give us the best chance. And last year, I definitely felt like I was doing a little bit too much guiding,
right.
Not as much, like of me trying to actually catch fish rather than kind of put guys on them. So that's part of the reason why I was like, I just want one guy with me, just, so that way I can kind of also focus on catching fish. And Simon and I talk, almost daily on the water whenever we're fishing, and work together, decently, with info. So, it just kind of naturally worked, that he wanted to fish it. So, and it was great. Like, I hadn't fished with him like ever, really, actually. So,
really?
We'd only ever been next to each other, boat to boat. But it was a great weekend. We had a great time. No issues whatsoever. We both kind of had the same kind of game plan of what we thought we wanted to do, which, was totally different day. We fished 3 completely different areas on 3 days, just based on the weather and the conditions that we had. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. He did a great job. I'm trying, and we worked well together. I was so happy that he pulled that last fish out to get on the leaderboard with like 15 minutes to go. It was nuts. So that was super cool. And we both had missed a couple like pretty painful chances that would have I would have bumped my standing a little bit, which was was heartbreaking until we got the last one. And then if he hadn't made the board, it was going to be sad because we had a lot of chances.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So when he pulled that one out at the end, and it was such a miserable day. I mean, I really didn't think it was going to happen for either of us, honestly. So that was super cool. So for both of us to make the leaderboard is awesome, and I can't speak more highly of Simon. He's a great stick, and he does a really good job out there, and he came through when we needed it. So
that's so awesome, Siege. We talking to a lot of the anglers over the few days, Siege. The respect level that people have for Spencer is incredible, and we're talking about the muskie community here. And you had a chance, Siege, to talk to many anglers at the breakfast truck in the morning when people were coming to get fed. And, nobody was intimidated by any means, but everyone was super pumped to try and have the bragging rights and say that they took down Spencer. And it was so funny when we got to the cove after it was over and everyone was like, well, we gave it our best, but hats off to him because you are truly you are the king of the LSC, and we're so grateful that you're actually here talking about it. And Siege, speaking to the people there, what were people saying to you? Like it wasn't a shocker, but people felt like they were so close.
They did, and let's face it, anglers are all competitive, and you want to fish against the best.
Right.
Like, I mean, you want to. It makes you better, just like anything in life. If some people saw your name and been like, I'm not going to go on that tournament, are you really an angler? Because you want to go against everyone has a shot, especially this time of year. Let's face it, if the Thames was firing, anyone could have had a shot. There was fish caught there, but it's just to see you two on the boat. And I'm just curious what you're looking for. Like, everyone's always looking for bait balls and hooks behind it. Is it primarily all shad they're feeding on only in the fall, or what are they feeding on in the summer and all that stuff? Pretty much anything that swims, or?
Yeah. So, I mean, muskies eat anything that swims, obviously, but shad are definitely the driving factor. Primarily in the fall. They eat a lot of shad in the summertime. Like, you're always looking for shad no matter what. But
right.
If you look at like a lot of the studies they've done, like they did a dietary study probably about 10 years ago out of Michigan State on St. Clair. They pumped the stomachs of a bunch of fish that were out in the main lake area by the weather buoy. And actually the main thing they found in a lot of their stomachs was white bass.
Really?
Which, yeah, given the location of where they did the study and like where they got those fish is not entirely shocking because there's a lot of them out there. And then if you talk to a lot of the old school taxidermists that did all the skin mounts back in the day and are still doing some, unfortunately. I mean, they say that juvenile sheephead are the number one thing they see in the bellies of the really big ones. And there's never a year that goes by that I don't see one or two muskies dead because they tried to eat a sheephead that they couldn't get down.
Really?
Yeah. They love to eat them, and sometimes their eyes are bigger than their mouths, unfortunately, at times. So yeah, they definitely eat a culmination thing, and obviously everything eats perch. Perch feed,
right.
All of the different systems, no matter what, no matter where we are. But yeah, so it's a culmination of things. But I think that shad and perch are definitely your big two, and then they obviously eat a lot of the rough fish, like the sheephead and the white bass and things. The one thing they don't eat a lot of is walleye and smallmouth, despite all of the walleye and smallmouth anglers that say that they are pummeling.
Yeah, there's and look how many baits are walleye patterned. Maybe they should start having a sheephead version for LSC. Those bait makers.
Yeah, and the sheephead definitely have a little gold in them. Obviously, there's a lot of suckers in there too that they're eating.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that are gold in color that those fish are eating. Like, there's definitely a lot of big suckers in there. Like, if you walleye jig in the river, you'll catch plenty of those along the way. And we all know that muskies love eating suckers as well. So it's not just the walleye patterns that
right.
that they're keying in on.
I gotta ask you this, Spence. I know that were lucky enough that Mother Nature poured on us, because we probably wouldn't have you on right now, and you'd be out guiding. And I know you're busy right till the closing day of the year. What's the off season like for you, brother? Like are you going to show season? Are you probably doing tons of podcasts and probably people reaching out to you? But what's it like? What's it like when December 16th hits? What are you doing?
Yeah, so the off season, it's all the behind the scenes stuff that people don't realize, right? So like obviously we do some trade shows. Everyone's pretty aware of that. I've cut down on doing a little bit of that. I mean, obviously the trade shows they've been dying since the internet, so they're not quite as prominent as they were 20 years ago. But I still do 3 trade shows. One around here, the Novi show, then Chicago and Pittsburgh, which are kind of our biggest ones in the Midwest. The big ones for me is, I normally get a boat. I get rid of an old boat. My boat rigging, I do all the rigging on the boat, get everything set. And nowadays, because of the electronics we're talking about, I got 5 graphs in the boat. I have 7 battery. I have 8 batteries in the boat. I got 4 chargers. It took me about 130 hours, I thought, to rig the boat last year. And then getting rid of the old boat, getting that all ready to hopefully sell for whoever, for its new owner. And then do all the bookings and all the behind the scenes stuff. Between the sponsors, I gotta do a fair amount for that. And then, book all the trips. Normally between myself and then I've got several other guys that run trips for me. We're doing about 800 and something trips a year, which, some of them are, a couple text messages and we book, whatever. But for every one of those, there's a guy that wants to ask you 9 trillion questions and doesn't book. Right. So, I probably spend about 2 hours a day on just doing emails, during the off season. And then I also have a little bit of a life. So that's the nice thing about the off season, because the season itself is pretty go. So, have a little bit of a life and, get a little bit of time, downtime as well. So
the non-fishing version of Spencer Berman, what is your life like, brother? Are you into sports? Or is there something do you hunt at all? Or is there anything other than fishing? Or is it just downtime for your brain and your body to recover from? You're back at it. What, early April? I would imagine.
March, late March. Yep, late March. We're back at it.
Ice fishing, any of that stuff?
No, I'm not really an ice guy. I've done plenty of it. I'm not a perch guy. Nothing against it. I just don't get that excited about it, and that's really what everybody's chasing through the ice out here. If we had like big northerns or something like that, or even like jig and walleye through the ice is pretty fun. But Erie rarely freezes good enough to be able to actually do that, and you need a lot of setups to do it safely on Lake Erie, and I don't have any of that. So for me, outside of fishing, no, I don't hunt. I'm too busy fishing for that. I never really have gotten into it. I spend a lot of time in the gym. I've been, I'm kind of a gym rat. So I'm normally in the gym every day. And then other than that, no, it's pretty much, fishing oriented for the most part. No sports. I grew up playing hockey. I'd love to get back into that, but I just never. I don't with the schedule I have. If I joined a men's league, I'd be the guy that everybody hates because they don't show up and they constantly have to get subs for me for the whole fall. So I'll jump in a little bit and sub in for some other guys here and there. But until I back off the fishing a little, I can't really do a whole lot else. But I am a huge Red Wings fan. I go to a handful of games.
Nice.
And so yeah,
they're looking good this year, brother. They're looking good.
Yeah, all the Detroit teams in general are looking really good overall.
The Tigers are looking good. The Lions are looking good. Siege, you were a Detroit fan.
I'm so close to that. So I really like the Tigers. I've been to a bunch of Red Wings games. The new stadium's beautiful. That whole district is so much fun. Yeah. It is because Antonio's in the Toronto area, so he's a Leafs fan. And just to get tickets there and parking, I'll go over to Detroit. I take the shuttle right from Windsor a lot of times, and it's a reasonable night out,
Yeah. No, it's a lot of the whole setup over there is really cool at Little Caesars. And my dad's had tickets for, I think, 31 years now. So I get,
nice.
So I get a handful for his ticket package. So I got a little sun here. I'll sit forward. But yeah, so I go to quite a few games and stuff, and it's been a little painful the last couple of years, but they're coming around. So
they're coming around.
I'm not surprised you work out in the off season, Spence, to be throwing those bulldogs like you do. You got it. You know what I mean? You got to stay fit.
Yeah, I mean, and during the season, I was in the gym this morning. But
Right.
yeah, I started, I grew up playing hockey, so I've always been kind of, I always hit the gym for that. But I kind of got back into it the last like 7-8 years, really hard, just mostly to try to help my back and try to help my shoulder and stuff like that. So I hopefully can be functional when I'm 50.
Yeah, we got to ask you, all the years you've been guiding, what's been like your best season guiding, like numbers wise? Do you have that kind of data?
Yeah, so I'd have to look it up, but back in the day, I mean, St. Clair has evolved a lot, and right now we're definitely downcycled. There's a lot less fish in the system than there was 10 years ago, but there's a lot of small ones coming up. Like there's so many little ones. It's a natural fishery. It cycles. So, and when I first started, I was kind of lucky enough to be, kind of the first guy out here casting, and man, were they dumb, and they were so aggressive and so agreeable. So those first, going back 2010 to 2015 or so, the numbers were pretty insane. So my best year ever was 800 and I think 73. It was 870 something fish, and we had 63 over 50. That was my best year. So nowadays I'm normally close to 400 right now, so like high threes probably, and then the 50s. I think I'm at 20, maybe 25, 24 right now. So hopefully I get right around 30. So it's definitely not what it was, but it's still, I put it against any system in the world, really. I mean, look at the tournament here. We had horrible, terrible conditions, just brutal, snowing sideways and all that. And we still had, 70 fish caught or something along those lines. Yep. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
And your point there was a lot of, in their tournament, there was a lot of like 22s. So you just showed it's a healthy, you're catching the smaller ones. And I have to know as well, what's the biggest fish that, not you personally, we'll get to that, but you put a customer on?
So the biggest fish ever in my boat was caught by a customer was 56.
Oh, okay.
56.
Yep.
Jesus.
And was that don't tell me it was a first time muskie fisherman.
Pretty close.
Oh man, that kills me.
Congrats to them, but
yeah, it's all downhill from there.
56. And what was the fish caught on?
On a Medusa.
Wow. And then what's your personal best?
So I've got 255 and a quarters.
Right.
Are my biggest. Yep. I got a 50 and a half 55 and a half in the boat from another customer. And then I got 255 and a quarters and then a handful of 55s. So
you were, you're obviously in Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So you're guiding out of there. So you hit a lot of obviously Canadian waters. So Canadian customers reach out to you as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do have a handful. It's a little bit, it's not as many as it used to be. The border is a little bit more of a pain, but yeah, I mean, any Canadian that want to come out. The only thing is I because of the border rules and all this other stuff, you have to come to Michigan and stay in Michigan, and then we go out. Even though I'll probably take you back to Canada, you can't pick people up. That's a violation of the border.
Oh, really?
No, I can't. No, it's a big no. So
okay.
Like the way that we operate, like I don't have, like we don't need work permits or anything like that. Not to get too technical, because as long as we launch from Michigan and come over, you're not considered taking the job of a Canadian, so you get to kind of avoid all that stuff. But if you go to shore and you start picking up Canadians, that's a violation. So like this last weekend, like I called into Canada each day because we were making landfall, so that's easy. But I can't be working there. So any Canadian that wants to come, that's absolutely awesome. I'd love to have I love any of the Canadians that want to come over. You got to come over and stay in Michigan, which is great accommodations and all that jazz.
It is,
and then we can. Then I could take them out, and everything's perfectly legal and good to go.
And we're going to be one of those Canadians that are coming over and booking you. How far out are you? When should people start booking you?
I mean, there's no time like the present. Obviously, I pretty much, when the season ends, I don't book more than a year out. So like I've done that before, and I realized that first of all, it's just too much to try to manage like 1 year at a time kind of thing. And I realized that my cancellations were through the roof when I let people book it more than a year out, because it just, no one knows what the heck they're going to be doing. I don't even know. I don't know the tournament schedules. I don't know, for all I know, the PMTT could be coming back to Clare, and that's 4 weekends I got to take off, this and that. So pretty much when the season ends, which is December 15th, that's when I kind of shut it down, even though Michigan stays open. And then I say on the 16th, my calendar is officially open. But if guys have dates in mind, there's, always reach out, and I can pencil stuff in, maybe a little ahead of time. I do have a calendar for next year.
Perfect.
But yeah, so pretty much if you're looking to get out, especially any of the prime times, start reaching out to me, anytime around now, or like I said, officially open December 16th for the muskie season next year.
Okay. Awesome. And how can people reach out? You're on all the socials as well?
Yeah, pretty much anything besides smoke signals. So Facebook, Instagram, I've got obviously a website, Spencer's Angling Adventures. Spencer's Angling ADV is the website, or Spencer's Angling ADV at Gmail is my email, or, text, call, social media outlets, you name it. So.
Yeah. And we look forward to seeing you at the Brawl again next year as well. I'm sure you're going to be there.
Absolutely. I've got a trophy I have to reluctantly return. So
and if you're looking for a partner,
like that big fish. I really like that big fish trophy from last year.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
That was nice.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a really cool looking, all the trophies that I've managed to be lucky enough to get. That was like one of my favorite ones. So, and I probably had 2 or 3 fish that I think would have retained it, but they were uncooperative.
Yeah. That's Dave's friend, Justin, who makes them. And they're like, you want them on your fireplace. They're so cool, those trophies.
Absolutely.
So if you're looking for a partner, Chef Antonio, he might need one next year.
Yeah.
He can catch fish, but he can make a good sandwich, my friend.
I'll tell you right now, you'll be warm and you won't be hungry, brother. I'll make sure that you're well fed, and you keep bringing them in, and I'll keep feeding you.
There you go. Well, I hate to admit this, but I don't know if Simon and I ate almost anything in the boat in 3 days. Like we're both just stupid, crazy musky guys.
Yeah.
Like, we're not putting a rod down. Like so I ate a very large meal after the tournament each day, but during the tournament it's just go, and it was nice for me, because like that's kind of my attitude, and Simon was definitely the same way.
Yeah.
I watched him at one point casting, trying to take his bibs off, and it's like, dude, if you get bit right now, like it's a debacle. You got one leg on, one leg off. Like just take your darn bibs off and then make the cast.
Yeah.
But that's the mentality.
That's so awesome, man. Well, listen, brother, thank you for taking the time today. We're so honored and blessed to have you join us. And hopefully we get to jump on the boat with you one day. It'd be awesome just to be and share the same boat with you, Siege. Whether it's walleye, whether it's muskie, whatever it is, make sure you reach out to the champ and book as early as you can, like you said, the present time. And good luck, and I hope you enjoy your off season. I know as busy as Siege and I, we're busy, and we got families, and there's so much other stuff going on in our lives other than fishing. So that's an important time, and hope you get to enjoy that and take some time off to reflect. And congratulations on winning the Muskie Brawl.
Absolutely, yeah. And I also want to give a shout out to the Brawl. I mean, they did an unbelievable job putting it on, and like you said, I was very happy to get lucky enough to get those fish. But I mean, anybody has a chance, and and winning tournaments is so freaking hard. Like it's so many things have to go right, and I don't want anyone to be intimidated. It's literally anybody's tournament every time. So you just I got lucky to get the bites this time, but it could be anybody, and they do an amazing job with that event, and I just am so happy to be able to jump in and fish it each year.
Awesome.
You're a fellow brawler. You always will be. We love it.
Sounds good.
Thanks again, buddy. We'll be right back after a short message from our sponsors, guys. Spencer, Berman, thanks again.
Thank you.
Hey boys, have you guys ever been to Gagnon Sports out in Oshawa?
Have I? That place is a gold mine. Picked up my new bow there last weekend. Hunting, fishing, archery, they've got everything.
Boys, don't forget the indoor shooting range. Gagnon's not just a store, it's an experience. They've been doing it right for over 50 years.
Seriously? I thought it was just another outdoor shop.
Just another shop. Buddy, it's family owned, Canadian proud, and huge. I've spent entire afternoons in there.
Or skip the trip and shop online. GagnonSports.com ships across Canada, fast, smooth, and packed with top-notch gear.
All right, I'm sold. Gagnon Sports trip next weekend?
Only if we hit the indoor range first, so I can show you guys how to shoot.
Gagnon Sports, 50 years of adventure and counting.
And don't forget to tell them the Eating Wild Boys sent you.
Welcome back, folks. Smash Maleka alongside Showtime Johnson Siege. There's a reason why they call that guy the king of LSC. And you know what? Like, after speaking to him, it's a no-brainer, bud.
Yeah, and he paid his dues. Like, you see how early he was being a guide, and it's not a fluke. You know, you and I win Muskie Brawl, it might be a fluke. I'm not saying we're not bad sticks. We're
there's
good.
Luck involved. There's got to be luck involved.
So there's got to be luck, but like, I mean, to win and win and win, and then put your customers on tanks like that consistently.
Yeah.
Man, I next step. It was fun having him on the podcast. Next step, we're in that man's boat. We're in the man's boat. Let's do walleye with them. Let's do muskie. Let's do everything except for trolling. We're not trollers.
And he casts a lot. That's what I love about the guy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He's and speaking of guys like in his, think of guys that, you know, share that water and you know, that are all competitors, which they're all friends, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, they're all, and even speaking to Mike Waterwolf, how, you know, he had so much support from other bait makers helping him create that hard body bait. Like just me listening to our podcast a couple weeks back. So these guys are all in it together, and it's great that they can share the knowledge with us on our podcast, and hopefully the listeners will listen. If you want to get into muskie fishing or multi-species fishing and you're in that area, call them up. You'll never learn or have an experience of a lifetime with anyone else, in my opinion, other than a guy like Spence and not to mention a guy like the Barthinator and Mox and these guys. They're huge, man. And again, John Bondi, legend.
Yeah.
That guy's booked as well till the end of the year. You know what I mean, Siege? Like, these guys are busy. They work hard. They put their dues in. And I'm glad he won the friggin' tournament, because it just shows you that, me and you win that tournament, it's luck. That guy wins the tournament.
We got some skill in us. You know, we know our way around, but it's amazing. And like Tone said, book these guides. You are getting it's like booking Michael Jordan to teach you how to do, I was going to say slam dunk, but we don't have that elevation, but to shoot free throws or whatever. You're getting these mega superstars on the water with you, and pick their brain, man. Pick their brain. Just don't show up and just be like, ask them questions. And next time you go fishing, you're going to have that tool in your toolbox.
Absolutely, buddy. Well said. And speaking of, tis the season, buddy. We are close to our American friends' Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Which means one thing, Siege. Which means one thing. Black Friday.
Yes,
and
sir. I'm so glad Canada.
we jumped on the ship.
Oh,
there
yeah.
we Amazon's on it. Everyone, like, you got all the stores. They got the flags outside. Black Friday event.
Yeah.
So speaking of Black Friday event, buddy, Gagnon Sports.
Yes.
Justin is going to be having an absolute wicked sale for a full week. And do you got those dates with you by any chance?
Yes, it's November 24th to the 30th. And it's going to be both online and in store. Some things may be just in-store promotions, but pretty much all the promotions are going to be, a lot of it is going to be online, and it's 15 to 70% off.
Man, we're not a podcast that really gets into like just talking about our sponsors all the time and stuff like that. But I will tell you, a lot of our listeners, especially if you're from abroad and you have access to the internet and a computer or a cell phone, and you are an avid hunter, fisherman, sportsman, outdoorsman, ice fisherman, apparel, gear, you need a new jacket or a survivor suit, you need life jackets, buddy. This week is where you're going to save money. And this is why we really need to talk about this, because at the end of the day, we want to help our listeners save some dough and get good quality stuff. And Gagnon Sports Siege is for me is Santa's workshop, man. It's a kid. You're a kid in a candy store walking into that place. So you got it at your fingertips online. Up to 70% off on some of the stuff. No less than 15% off, Justin told me.
Yeah, and we're big anglers. Obviously, we like hunting as well. Don't sleep on the hunting sales for it too. Ammo, guns, and I believe I know he has free shipping over like $150, excluding big items, obviously. But you can go there. You can go there if you're a wife or a sister or a brother, anyone that has an outdoorsman or outdoors woman in their family, from the field to the water. Go there and stock up. And to have deals like this, I know some people say, well, I'm going to buy stuff for next summer. I'm going to sit on it. It's worth saving 70%, man.
Yeah, See, you got everything in you and Lou and Dan. You guys have almost everything. And I'm talking about not just gear, but gadgets. You have like Dan's got every ice fishing gadget. He's got the pick. He's got the things that goes around your neck just in case you fall in. Lou's got the shoes with the big spikes on. Like, we have everything.
Yeah.
If you are shopping for yourself right now, what are you looking for? What would you say, you know what, I would wait for a sale like this because I probably wouldn't purchase something like this at that price? Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, first thing I do, my go-to lures, I always like to have 3 of my go-to colors.
Yeah.
So I'll check my inventory soon. I'm going to get them because we're going to be ending our season soon. So I'll see what's low. So my go-tos I'm going to stock up on. And I don't have, like the listeners know, we're recently into hunting. So I like to step up my hunting game more. I'm getting addicted to buying guns. My wife buys shoes. I buy guns.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking for a semi-automatic 22. Awesome. I have the shotgun. I'm getting more into the rifles now. And with our crazy government stuff, I'm trying to get anything before they try to pull anything out of our hands. But yeah, I'm just looking for a fun 22 semi-automatic, 25 clips or 25 in there. And I'm going, he's got tons of those too. So long story short, that's what I'm after.
Yeah, I think for me, electronics, man, I'm always thinking ice fishing. I love, me, I've been a big ice fisherman since I was, maybe early teenager. And that AquaView underwater camera that I got, I saved up every single gift card I had for a certain store that I won't mention. And I ended up buying the AquaView 7A. And every year, Siege, it's like they know that they can upgrade. And I've had a few issues with my AquaView where at night it has that feature where it goes into night mode.
Yes.
So like at like 5 o'clock, 5:15, it you can't see anything and you got to turn on those LED lights. And then my home lake on Scugog, once those LED lights go on, you see all those little picton.
Yeah.
And it looks like an aquarium with bubbles. And it's like, oh my God. And then I started doing some research and there's some other cameras out there that actually they use infrared light.
Yes.
And all it does is it reduces the amount of picton. So the bright light is what was my problem or my issue with that. So I might be in the market for another camera.
Yeah.
And again, if I can save some money on that, because it's something that I'll use maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year.
Yeah.
Going to Simcoe, if you're going for jumbies, you really don't need an underwater camera.
Right.
Because it's, you drill your hole, you look down, you see them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm always looking for something like that. So
yeah,
I'm going to check it out. And if there's something there that I see that I like, I might dabble, Siege. I might dabble.
No, that's good, man. And for our listeners, head out there, go online. There's no excuse to say, well, I'm not in the Oshawa area. Just go to the World Wide Web, bud. And it turns out the internet's not going anywhere. It's going to be around for a while. Yep. And I have to give this shout out to Xtreme Marine too. They all of our sponsors, we got our boating from Xtreme Marine, and then some lures we bought from the Brawl, Gagnons, Butcher Shoppe with the meats, and GFS. It just ties in so good. So if we're being sponsored by certain companies, we stand behind them. So you should too, because they're local. Let's support local. I know we hear this all the time, but these big box stores, they're going to be around. They you know, they're not going anywhere. Let's support our people that are in our backyard, man.
Well said, buddy. And if you look behind me over my left shoulder, you'll notice a sign that says Bayside Brewing.
Oh, yeah,
we are in talks with those boys. I got to tell you something, Siege. It was like being at the Mandarin buffet for beers at the Cove, because I tried so many different types of beers. And I got to tell you, man, their light lager, woo!
Yeah.
I got to give it a whistle, eh?
Yeah, we didn't even have a chance to try them all.
Yeah, and you like the cherry one, actually.
I never thought I would, man. He's like,
man.
oh, this is a cherry. I'm like, come on, man. I'm at a Muskie Brawl. Will you kill me with this cherry infused? I have a sip of it.
Adorable.
I'm just like, God damn, that was good.
It was good. It was
we're in the works with them with something, so stay tuned. And geez, who else do we need? Alcohol?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess Santa Claus and his elves might be the next ones we're going to reach out to us, because we're happy with the people that we're teamed up with, and you know, I couldn't be more happier. And like you hit it on the head, buddy. The local people are, you know, it's not about the dough for us. It's about partnering with the right people.
With the right people.
And muskie anglers and all those guys that we met, those are the guys. Those are the blue collar boys that we love to, you know, on our end, give back. And doing that brawl, giving the breakfast to the boys was a sense of accomplishment for us. And we're
and
so
then
glad
help
to do it.
us out by leaving us a review, comment, rate us 5+ stars on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, because that shows our sponsors that they're getting recognition as well. So as a listener, that's the least you could do. We're giving you this free, so hook us up. We really appreciate it.
Awesome, buddy. And before I let you go, man, a shout out to Gagnon Sports, boys. They beat us by they beat us by a bad net guy, I would say.
You didn't screw anything up, buddy.
If you watched the YouTube video and you heard the bleeper, that was me losing my mind, because I was upset that I didn't get that baby in the net for you, man.
Yeah, it was a boat-side fish, so we all know they're full of piss and vinegar, as they say, and it was a short window and it was barely hooked. It was not your fault at all. So we lost by 42 inches.
Oh my God, dump.
It was fun. Good guys.
Good guys, man. We got to pay up. We've already they've gotten their tomahawks. We got we are shipping them over a prime box.
Yeah.
And you know what? Next year, hopefully, we turn the name of Angling Sports into the E-Dub Center. You know, you never know. We
next thing you know,
down.
Eating Wild becomes Angling Sports Podcast. They may take over the keys, man.
Let's get them into a Walter tournament. I think it'd be a little bit more fish boated. I think it'll be a little bit more fun with. I mean, muskie is fun. Don't get me wrong, but those guys are deadly, man. They're good sticks. And
yeah, we can't go toe to toe with them for bass. That's for sure.
No, I'll never do that. No, and you know what? Unless you have martins or
we can hold our own on bass, but Lake Erie, these guys they're
top 10
good,
finish
man.
in every tournament, bud. I heard it for myself. Those guys are they're deadly out there. But curious to see how Little Cole and the Grasshopper put their those
and then Big John
put those things on the grill. Hopefully they use the spices that we gave them the sample, and we'll see what they can do. Maybe they'll show me up in the kitchen as well, Siege. I wouldn't put it past them.
All right, brother. Another one in the books. It's great seeing you as always.
Buddy. Always, man. You get rid of that snow. Get your shovel out for the first time of the year. I'll get Coach to get that tune started, and we'll catch up next week, buddy.
Get the net.